10 shocking facts about sex toys. Okay, so sex toys and AI.
This gives sex workers the chance to say to their fans, do you want to experience fucking me?
If there's a will, there's a way.
If there's a willy, there's a way.
If there's a willy, there's a way. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to Luvbites by Dr. Tara podcast, where we talk about all things sex. I am so excited to have this guest on today because today with us is Topher Taylor, world-renowned sex toy expert and TV contributor. And here's the thing, if you ever have sex questions, this is the person that you want to go for, especially sex toys, what toys are good, what toys are bad, what toys are outrageous, what are some cheap toys, expensive toys, all kinds of crazy stuff about sex toys. So this episode is 10 shocking facts about sex toys with Topher.
Thank you. That's quite the intro.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it's going to be my ringtone.
Was it orgasmic?
It was, orgasmic. It was beautiful.
Did you already come in your seat?
Yeah, I need a wet wipe.
Well, yeah, that's what they say. Dr. Tara, she gets the job done.
You help wet wipe sales in the UK.
Yeah, wet wipes. Come on, sponsor me. Okay, so no jokes, I am really excited because you are the sex toy expert. And you know, being like a sexologist in this field, right? There's so much to talk about within sexology and sex therapy, sex coaching, relationship advice, like all of those things. But it takes a very special person to be a sex toy expert.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, it's like you've really got to be brave to put yourself out there in that way because people associate sex toys with embarrassment.
Yeah.
You know, it's a shame-filled industry. So when I was younger, I was a little bit naive, which in hindsight was a really good idea.
And there's just so much stuff out there. And there's so much, there's always new technology, new product, new design. So you really have to keep up with everything.
Yeah.
Because so a lot of you that have been listening for a long time, you know that I'm a sex professor. But those of you that are new, I'm a sex professor at Cal State University. And for me, I'm always kind of reading new sexuality research, sexual satisfaction, strategies for communication about sex, things like that. But when it comes to sex toys, I'm not always the most up-to-date with what outrageous things are going on in the world.
That's why it's interesting though, because our industry, we take from psychosexual studies, we take from people's customer-facing stuff. You go into sex shops and you find what people want. And you kind of amalgamate all of that. And that's how you develop the best sex toys. And then you use AI and technology. So it's three worlds that combine. You know, it's tech, it's psychology, and it's customer-facing experience, which is where I come from because I used to work in sex shops.
That's right.
So I got my knowledge by just keeping my ear to the ground. And I still do it to this day.
And you just became basically a contributor. You were on Channel 5 or Channel 4's show and talking about sex toys.
Yeah, and just discussing AI, how artificial intelligence is changing our industry. Because obviously AI is the buzz topic of now and will continue to be. So it's how do we utilize that as an industry? How do we develop products which help people with their personal relationships with sex? How it helps relationships, how it helps people understand their own bodies.
Exactly.
And my favorite part, which is how it helps people get over dysfunction and insecurity. So maybe someone has premature ejaculation, maybe they have delayed ejaculation, DE, maybe they have erectile dysfunction.
So you're saying there's a sex toy that helps with premature ejaculation?
Yeah, because you can train yourself up. There's never going to be a quick fix to something like that. And if there was, I would have patented it and been rich by now.
But it's a training thing.
It's the slow and steady wins the race.
And is that something we're going to talk about as a part of the 10 shocking facts?
Yeah, because it comes into the tech side.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get started.
Yeah. All right, so the first one I want to talk about, which I think is really cool, a lot of people cover this, but I think they always get the date wrong, and I'm a facts person.
We're facts people.
So the first dildo ever discovered, the first sex toy that's ever been, there probably was some prior to this, obviously. However, the first one that was ever discovered was 29,000 years BC. So it's before Christ. And it was made...
It is before Christ, just so we all clear.
This is 29,000 years before Christ, and it was an 8-inch dildo that was discovered in a German cave, and the cave is called Holzfels Cave.
Holzfeld's cave.
which sounds a bit like whole-filled cave.
Yeah,
which I
which
think
makes
is
a lot of
beautiful.
sense.
Yeah.
Holzfeld's cave, and this is 29,000 BC.
Yeah, so every time maybe someone is a bit puritanical or preaches
Yeah.
to you about sexuality, you can say, well, it was before religion.
Exactly.
People were still using it, and it was made from a certain type of stone, which is like a grain-based stone, which doesn't sound very glamorous because you think of like residue, but they'd like brushed it smooth. And you can find it.
So it's a stone dildo.
Yeah. Which, I mean, nowadays with sex tech and the knowledge that I have, you could warm it up, you could cool it down. You know,
Fair.
people use stone and jade and glass. So they were quite futuristic in their thinking.
8-inch.
So 20 centimeters, yeah.
So back in 29,000 BC, people were
They
already
were
size queens.
Yeah. They trained us well, their ancestors.
Wait a minute. So our ancestors were size queens.
Yes, and they were size queens that made dildos from siltstone.
Wow.
Siltstone, which is a grainy, but they somehow glossed it down. And when you see it now, it looks glossy.
If there's a will, there's a way.
If there's a willy, there's a way.
If there's a willy, there's a way.
And there was a willy 29,000 years before Christ.
Wow. All right. That's facts.
And that's just, I think that's fascinating because it's so nice to think, you know, we're so like malnourished.
Well, people think like sex toys are new things. It's so unnatural, right? Like,
sex is, you know, shameful.
Exactly. Like, oh, if we're in a relationship, why do we need a sex toy? It's so unnatural.
But then you find out 31,000
Is
years
it as natural as 29,000 years ago?
someone was fingering themselves in a cave.
Exactly. Like you getting a speeding ticket is unnatural.
Yeah. But yeah, it just makes me happy. I think it's interesting to see, because I think like when you think of your like thousands of years ago ancestors, you don't sexualize them.
No.
You know they procreated, you know that people developed, but you didn't think, did they have pleasure?
Right.
What were the relationships like? You know,
Yeah, did they masturbate?
Yeah, did people have erectile dysfunction?
Right.
And you think like back in the day, like those days, sexual dysfunctions would have led to like breakdowns in society and breeding, you know, would have cut families off because there would have been no alternative medicine or, you know, I wonder how scared of sex they were back then. Maybe they were more progressive than we were.
Maybe.
We don't know.
And there are theories, there are sex researchers that actually said that we used to be a lot more like sexually liberal.
Yeah.
And then it became very restrictive.
Yeah.
And then now we're becoming more positive.
Yeah, and we're hardwired to like sex. I mean, we're designed to...
It's so natural.
You
it's
know.
like eating, shitting, fucking. All natural stuff. No need to blush.
All in the same evening. Yeah.
Of course. Okay, number 2.
Number 2, and this is the one I think is very interesting because it's about tech. It's the interlink of sex toys and artificial intelligence.
Okay, so sex toys and AI.
Yeah, which is obviously it's going to be, it means our industry. I mean, when I joined the industry, I joined it because I liked the topic.
Right.
But now I realize in hindsight, it was a really smart idea because I'm part of an industry that's forever changing.
Exactly.
You know, it's like the toys that were developed 2 years ago have been progressed like tenfold by now.
Right.
You know, tech, controls, interactivity, customization of toys, developing a product which satisfies your needs, whether that be pulsation, whether it be a certain amount of grip or maybe less grip.
So tell us more, like what is AI doing with sex toys?
So it's basically giving you the option to totally customize your experience of a product. So like,
for example.
So you can customize your vibration settings. You know, there is.
But like I can press on and go to the one I like, put it on my clit, and then we're good. So like, why would I need AI?
Because I think a lot of people like certain or like there are especially a lot of cis women who struggle to orgasm. They need certain patterns, and there are certain apps, for example, certain sex toy brands. You can literally like drag your finger and create your pattern. So if
what
you know,
brand is that?
There's Lalo, there is WeVibe, for example. So and you can log into the Bluetooth app and design your vibration setting completely to your personalized.
So it's not just like number 1, number 2. It's like whatever
it can be if you
want.
Yeah, the options. I mean, they make it totally fair. So like, if you're someone who just wants to play with it, you don't want to get too complicated. You don't want to put it onto your phone because maybe you're very discreet. That's fine. However, if you're someone who has very, you know, personal, you want something very unique to you, it gives you that option.
So you can design how your vibrator vibrates, like the whole session. Like let's say if you're using it for 10 minutes, it can change, like the rhythm can change however you want without you touching it.
Yep, you can just
because you already pre-program it on your app.
Yeah, you just lay back and enjoy the ride.
Wow.
You can sit on it, hold it, however you do it, however is the best way you can.
So how else is AI affecting us?
So we have long distance connectivity, which I think is it's not as modern now, but I think our industry knew about it a long time ago. However, it's kind of dripping down into like general public now. So long distance relationships. Say your partner is in Japan on business and you're in LA.
Okay.
You can log in at the same time, give him the controls, give her the controls, give whoever, and they can make you come.
Oh, and we love that.
Yeah.
And we love that because long distance relationship is accounted for by like a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like a high percentage of relationships is long distance.
Yes. Massive amount, especially with business now. Like people are traveling the world all the time. My friends are always other sides of the planet.
Yeah. Okay, so what sex toy is the best for long distance relationships?
Personally, I would say one of the WeVibe ones because they're just so accessible and their app is really easy to use.
Okay.
So I would say WeVibe. I mean, WeVibe has a really good reputation because they developed a really popular internal and external female stimulator, which like stimulates the clitoris as well as a G-spot at the same time. But you wear it during sex. So they built this unique product, which is it sounds like you're going to get a stretch. You're not because it's very slender.
Oh.
So they developed that, and then that kind of gave them this really great platform, which then obviously gave lots of money.
Oh, because it clips the vagina.
Yeah.
And then the top part is on the clit and it vibrates. But
and it's
the
really
inside
good.
is thin and it's clipping it in so it stays with hands-free.
And every single person, I gift it to my female friends all the time, and every single one is like, it's incredible.
Okay.
So I have a bit of a loyalty to that one.
Oh, I see.
Because it makes me look good at my job.
Yes. Okay, so what's the third shocking fact about sex toys?
This one I like, and we're going back in time again now. And this is the ancient Greeks.
Okay.
So they used to make sex toys from something you'd have around the house or something you'd bake, which was bread.
No, the Greeks did not use bread for sex toys.
They did. They used to use olive oil as lubricant.
Well,
Yeah.
I can see that because I still kind of use it sometimes. If I'm traveling and I like didn't bring lube with me, I'm down to use olive oil.
Yeah, I like oil. I like coconut oil as well.
Coconut oil is my fave.
And it leaves your skin feeling good. But the ancient Greeks, they used to use a lot of household products. And then the popular one, the one that people talk about the most, is the bread.
How do you use bread for sex?
You lube it up with olive oil.
And then put bread in the vagina?
Yeah, so
or
like they would bake it into like, I think they called it olispos, so OLISBOS, and it was just like they would create these dildos from bread. Yeah,
people have always been creative.
I love bread, so I mean,
you know who else? Oprah.
yeah.
Oprah loves bread.
Does she?
Yeah.
Okay, we should ask her if she's ever used
the Greek way.
Yeah, do you like it the Greek way?
Yeah.
Yeah, she probably think we're talking about a restaurant, but Oprah, we'll trick you.
So, okay, the Greeks used to make bread in a shape of whatever.
Yeah, like the
use
phallus.
olive oil to lube it up.
Yeah.
And then use it for sex toy.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's just a fact I find really interesting. And every single time, to this day, when I'm in a supermarket or a store and I see like do you see those bread battens? And I'm like...
Like baguette.
Yeah.
So do you think French people use it too?
I don't know. Ask them. I don't want to make assumptions.
That's the next thing I'm going to say when I meet a French person.
Next time
you use a baguette...
Next time you go to Paris, be like, do you masturbate with that bread?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say.
I will too. But yeah, that's just one of those little facts I've always loved. And I think it's a real fun, like...
I think it's great. We're traveling around the world kind of. And then we go back in history, in the future.
Exactly.
All the things.
And it's really, it's good information to have to like combat so much puritanical content that's out there right now about sex and shame. And you're like, whoa. Hang on.
Don't need to be ashamed of sex.
Thousands of years ago, people were putting yeast up their holes. And I think that's a testament to the fact we've always loved sex.
Exactly. It's so natural. Also, I wanted to say, like, whenever I talk about sex, if I'm at dinner party or a networking event, when people ask me like what I do, and then I start talking about what I do, and then they were like, oh, so what are some of the topics you talk about? Then I start talking about that. What I find really interesting is people are always like, oh, wow, I would never say things like that.
Yeah.
Or like, I would never talk about that with my partner. And I always tell them like, it is so important that you talk about it with your partner.
That's where so many relationships trip up because we're so scared of being vulnerable.
Exactly.
It's like that toxic blend of shame and vulnerability, and then when you meet the right person and, hopefully you do, you'll break that down.
Yeah.
And obviously the best sex you'll ever have will be with the person that you can communicate with.
Right.
Because you can be like, I don't necessarily like that. Maybe try this or try bread. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'd suggest it.
This is so far my favorite fact.
The bread one.
Yeah.
The
Because I love bread.
the batten vagina, which is I think is
Okay, so then we have number 4.
which is
Fourth shocking fact about sex toys.
yeah, it's how green our industry is becoming. So we are now, for a long time, the adult industry had a really bad reputation for wastage, for irresponsible use of plastic, silicone, etc.
Yeah.
So we are now becoming a lot more green. There are brands which are developed, brands like Love Not War, for example, who I love, who make products which are completely sustainably sourced. All of the product is recyclable. All of the packaging is recyclable. They give back to the communities. They give back out to the local businesses and stuff. And they are hosted in lots of independent sex shops as well.
I've learned that Gen Zs care a lot about sustainability.
Which is great because they're putting pressure on brands to be responsible. Because at the end of the day, there's no point us wanting to orgasm if we're all going to be burnt alive in 10 years' time.
Exactly.
If we're all going to be pushed into the corners of the world. You know what I mean?
You mean
we have to,
you can't orgasm before that happens?
I mean, you can during if you want. I guess it will distract you. Do you know what I mean? You either wait for the wave or you come. I know which one I would do. But I think I think Gen Z are really great in that respect. They really, really put pressure on big business. But what I like
to innovate and then be less greedy, stop using cheap materials.
Yeah, exactly.
And trying to find a way to be more sustainable.
Yeah, you don't want everything to end up in the landfill. It's not a very nice idea because the planet hopefully goes on. We don't want to leave. Yeah, we dug up stone dildos. They'll be digging up piles of silicone and do you know what I mean? All the toxic.
Right.
It's terrible. Silicone is more complicated to recycle, which I'm aware of. There are ways to recycle it. It sometimes takes a little bit of research, but if you do have a silicone toy, there are ways to recycle it. It just means breaking it down and sometimes melting it yourself, which is actually kind of fun, and I've done it before. So, but I think it's really, for me, it's really exciting, and I guess it is shocking for me because I've been in the industry for so long that behave so badly with products. And
so when there's new sustainable products, eco-friendly products, you're like, oh, this is shocking.
Yeah, well, it is, and you want. I know that's going to attract the younger people, 18 plus, because they're going to be more drawn to these products because it comes with responsibility.
Yeah,
it's an orgasm with empathy.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? It's nice, and it's nice to know that
we love that.
Yeah, and we should continue to put pressure on the brands, in how they send product, how they package it. How they advertise, etc. Is there ways that we can figure that? And in the digital age, there's so many ways that we can innovate and
So next fact.
The next fact is that sex toys are being credited with saving relationships.
Tell us more.
And that is shocking because so many people think that a sex toy is an alternative to a partner.
Right.
That it's you're giving up. Or if you're reading certain websites now, certain social media platforms, people who use dildos, etc., are pathetic or lonely. And I think, no, sex toys.
I've heard a lot of that actually. It's a misconception.
Yeah, it's boring.
Sex toys are not competition. Sex toys complement.
Exactly.
Sex toys add, enhance, and sex toys are great for your sex life. And there's been tons of research to prove that.
Exactly. I know so many couples. I mean, I'm only in my mid-30s, but I've got friends who have been in relationships for 10, 15 years. And when I give them product, you get the feedback oh, wow, I learned something new about him or her. And that's what the great part of it is that it helps you develop a level of intimacy with someone because you're going, sex is such a vulnerable topic, especially a lot for heterosexual men, getting through that vulnerable barrier is so difficult.
I know. I have straight men in my DMs what toys should I use for my prostate massage or for pegging or for my butt sex? They're so ashamed to ask anyone else.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm my place is a welcoming place for anyone that wants to enjoy pleasure, whether you're straight, gay, bi, pan, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, but that's why the work you do is important.
Thank you.
Because what it does is it helps reinforce this idea of self-exploration, really, as we've gone back to in fact number 1, which I'm going to keep repeating, that we were using sex toys 30,000 years ago.
Right.
Sex exploration, as I call it, is part of the human experience. You want to get to know. So when you can let that guard down and God willing, you're in a relationship with someone who you can trust and communicate with, which you should be. And if you're in a relationship with someone you're too scared to communicate about your anxieties.
That's a big red
flag. And I feel like that sounds like a little corny tagline, but I think listen to your intuition. If you're in bed with somebody and you're scared to communicate your boundaries, your likes, your dislikes, might be a little bit of a sign that perhaps this isn't the person you're sexually compatible with. Yeah. And for me, that's incredibly important. So I think sex toys are helping people address dysfunctions. Going back to the topic of dysfunctions, sex toys are helping, like, especially.
Yeah, can we talk about that?
Yeah.
So sex toys for disabled people.
Yeah. So there's lots of toys out there which are developed for people with functionality. They need, things with certain functionalities. Maybe they're not able to hold it a certain way. Maybe they have to mount it. Maybe their penis isn't working properly. Maybe they've had their prostate removed, so on and so forth. One brand I really like for this is Hot Octopus, which we went for a party to.
Right.
They developed a penis vibrator, which has what we call oscillating technology, which uses a pulse plate, which is like a thundering vibration, which is designed, it looks like an old spaceship or like Darth Vader's mask, but it's got a dip.
Okay.
But
so it's like a cagey thing?
It's like a very bougie looking hug in like a black sphere.
Okay, and then you put it on your penis.
You rest your penis in it. You can go in there flaccid or you can go in there hard or semi.
So go in the oven.
You go in the oven.
With your penis.
Just not for bread this time.
Right.
And then you turn the oven on. And what it does is it sends vibrations through this pulse
and it goes
plate.
like this on the penis.
It's a thundering vibration.
Oh, like this.
So it goes into the frenulum, which is the
And does it go up and down and around too?
It vibrates. So it's like a plate, a circular plate. And it's like a thundering vibration. And the reason it's popular is because it helps bring people to orgasm without stroking. Because usually people with penises, you jerk off, you wank, or you
go like this.
Yeah, or you're inside someone's body, so you're using their internal walls.
It's always like this.
Yeah. This trains your penis. So
this is like...
Yeah. And I like it because people with penises are often patronized by sex toys.
Right.
This is a sleeve. It looks like a vagina or a vulva. You fuck it. This looks like an anus or a mouth. You fuck it. It's very rare that there are products developed which are about penis pleasure.
Right.
And this is about sending direct pleasure into the most sensitive part of your body, which is the frenulum. And those vibrations and pulsations and rumbles, they can alternate as well. So you can change it up. And then it's been accredited for helping a lot of disabled men reach orgasm.
But it's also for all men, right?
Whoever. And it's great for couples as well.
Yeah.
Because you can mount it on the penis and sit on top. And then you're controlling that pressure with your body weight of how much vibration is going into your partner. So it becomes this like interactive experience.
Wow. I feel like this is like a trophy for men. I'm surprised not more men have this toy.
Yeah, and it was called the first Guy-brator. That's what
Guy-brator.
That was that. Yeah, they got
we
loads
like Guy-brator.
Yeah. But it is actually a really great toy. You can talk about how accessibility is wonderful and all, because it is, but it does the product deliver pleasure?
Right.
Like it does. It's literally orgasmic. It would be incredibly difficult to not get pleasure from it.
So my question would be like, why haven't more brands developed this product?
Because I think...
why isn't it everywhere?
Because a lot of especially cis straight men are often very patronized by our industry, which is perhaps why there's less uptake from cis straight men to come.
You're thinking like straight men are they're too afraid to go buy a sex toy?
Yeah, because they're not perhaps catered to, and there's obviously the shame aspect, which is monumental. But if you're thinking from just a retail standpoint, you're like, oh, it's a pocket pussy. Fleshlights are great and they've got a great reputation. But I like the fact there are brands now who are developing stimulation for the penis, which allows people to learn to orgasm in different ways, which is also quite good for things like premature ejaculation. Because you're not getting all that all-encompassing grip, which makes most guys orgasm, because it's that clench, that moisture.
Oh, like the oven?
Yeah, the oven.
Okay. Obviously, yes, it's a great tool for disabled men, right? Especially, you don't have to, hold it or...
Anyone with, accessibility, where maybe you're not comfortable to use it. Maybe you've got arthritis. Maybe you've got
arthritis.
But it's
from jerking off too much when you were 18 years old.
Yeah.
But basically, just safe to say, it's great for all men.
Yeah. If you have a penis
and you want a specific type of men.
No, and if you have a penis and you want to try something that really helps you feel pleasure in a different way. It's just nice, and I think it's important that we put that emphasis on these. I mean, that product gets incredible reviews.
Right.
That brand exploded because of that, with that pulse plate technology, which is now a decade old, which is the party we went to. It was a 10-year celebration of this technology.
Wow.
But the reason people acknowledge it and the reason they host parties for it is because it changed the game.
Wow.
And so they have a massive, massive disabled, customer base who credit the brand for helping them orgasm, some of them for the first time in their lives.
Oh, love
Which is,
that.
as a toy developer, what more could you want?
Everyone deserves to come.
Yeah. Again, empathy and orgasms.
Yeah.
Which we like.
Both.
Yeah.
All right, next fact.
The next fact is that animals have been known to use sex toys.
Stop.
Yeah.
Animals use sex toys?
Well, I mean, animals don't go down to a sex shop and buy a vibrator, but animals have been known to use products to masturbate, to use like things around them to masturbate, and to use
like algae?
Well, like sea sponge.
Stop.
Yeah, dolphins have been caught masturbating with sea sponge. Yeah.
What do they do? Like, oh.
Yeah, I mean,
grinding
I can't say
on
I've
it?
watched the videos. I haven't quite reached those steps
I
yet.
need to watch this on Animal Planet.
Yeah, it's probably on TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watch
Animals
dolphins
masturbating with
sponge.
natural sex toys.
Yeah. And then we have primates who have been known to masturbate with sticks and rocks and penetrate sometimes, which I don't think I ever want to see that. I'm glad they're exploring their
No, because
bodies.
there's no lube. Unless they have their own lube.
Perhaps.
Would they have lube?
I don't know. Maybe we should send them some olive oil.
The monkeys?
Yeah, or palm oil. Birds who have been known, again, but these are like more man-made reactions. So birds have been known to use perches. So the perches they sit on, like the canaries and stuff. Yeah, and also using their own feathers. Yeah, which I think is kind of like cute, but also a little bit creepy.
No, it's cute.
I just don't-
Self-pleasure.
Yeah, but I don't want to be at my house and look at my birds masturbating. Do you know what I mean? It would be like,
Are you watching me while masturbating? That's illegal.
yeah, maybe it's
Bird.
like a compliment in a weird,
Yeah.
weird kind of
birds turned on by you.
line blurring way. I don't want to blur those lines.
Also, like when you learn about these facts, as obviously a sex toy expert,
Yeah.
like do you ever feel like what kind of feelings do you feel?
With the animals one, it's incredibly creepy, and it feels like you've.
But it's natural.
It is, but you feel like a bit like you've walked in on your parents having sex.
Oh,
You're like, a part of me is glad that this living being is experiencing pleasure because that's great for any physical body, but I don't necessarily know if I want to know about it too much.
but you've seen dogs having sex.
I have, yeah.
Like many times.
I've seen dogs having gay
Dogs.
sex or trying to.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's true.
My dog
Yeah,
used
they
to
would just hump
anyone
whatever.
or anything.
Yeah.
My dog was like pansexual.
Your dog
When I was a kid, yeah.
pansexual?
God.
Oh my God.
And then otters.
that is a TikTok.
Yeah. And then otters have been known to masturbate with rocks.
Otters?
Yeah. With the rocks.
Like sea otters?
Yeah, with the rocks they perch on.
What do they do?
Like grind
Just
and
move
hum.
their-
Yeah. I haven't watched the videos, but I've read the data. And
Oh my gosh.
that's about as much as I know about that.
Wow. Sea
But I just
otters.
I think it's just, again, going back to what we were saying about the world's oldest sex toys. The lived experience is
Like
to seek
everyone
orgasm because
uses sex toys.
we are hardwired to
Yeah.
want to have a good time.
Animals use
Yeah.
sex toys. Love that. Love this fact.
So next time your partner says no to go into a sex shop, you remind them that an otter
yeah.
masturbates.
Yes. So we're all good.
We're in this together.
We're all good. Let's get that strap on.
And the next fact is the world's biggest sex toy.
Okay, don't say yet. So the world's biggest sex toy.
yeah.
And are we talking about dildo?
Yes, we actually are. 'Cause
Okay, so if we're talking about world's biggest dildo, I'm going to guess 12 inches?
a little bit
what?
taller. So the reason I bring this up is because whenever I tell people I work in the sex toy industry, they assume you use massive toys because, there's this idea about sex toys, which is, you're stretched.
My dildos are like 4 inches.
Yeah, I mean, you don't necessarily need much for prostate or G-spot or whatever. Like for me personally, I like targeted toys.
Right,
But the
same.
assumption is, you must use these massive toys, which I
Right.
don't, but I know about them.
Right, because sex
Because
toy
of the
expert.
industry. So there is a really, really big adult toy company, and they're based in Los Angeles called Doc Johnson, and they've been around since the late
Are they
60s.
friends with Doc Martin? The shoes?
Yeah, I guess a different type of
Do
shit.
they put that up the hole?
Yeah, I've seen people do that.
Okay, so the
Yeah.
biggest sex toy.
The biggest one is called the American Challenge.
The American
It's called
Challenge.
the American Challenge, and this is by Doc Johnson. I've been selling it. I started working in sex shops when I was 18, and this product has been on sale since long before then.
Okay,
And it
you're
is-
killing me. How big is this?
3 foot with a 6-inch diameter. Yeah,
Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
36 inches.
36 inches, right up into the belly. It's gross, right?
I
But
mean,
it's also
it's
not
not
gross.
gross. It's not gross, but like that is a shocking fact.
It's-
And also like obviously this is like a gimmick, like piece of gift.
This is where
Like no one uses this.
this is where like you got to like there's these lines of responsibility as a sex toy educator, etc., that you need to like make sure that people are using products responsibly. Now, obviously, to go 36 inches deep is huge. You know, there's like it's crazy.
Wait a minute. So 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot. It would come through my mouth.
It would come like through. So it's like
It just got through my organ, like my whole body.
It's-
Pierce my lungs.
we used to use one as a doorstop in an old sex top. Yeah, we use it as a doorstop.
I
in
need
the
it
stop.
as a doorstop.
Yeah, and it
Okay.
it smells nice when you open the
No,
packet.
it
It's got like a
doesn't.
sweet smell. Yeah, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it does.
Dildos like never smell good
This one does. It's got like a sweet kind of fruity smell.
because it's American.
Yeah, that's what but that toy, I do believe it was originally developed as more like a PR gimmick from Doc Johnson. But the thing is with toys, like a lot of people, it's like a sport. A lot of people expand and go deeper, and then we get into things like depth play, where people use toys which bend and go around the curves in the lower. But there is a second G spot.
Wow, you're teaching me new things right now, and I'm very shocked by this. There's something called
The second ring.
wow.
Which a lot of people, especially like female dominatrixes who peg a lot of men using big products. Like I know a dominatrix called Goddess Cleo, and she's like her famous thing is that she gives guys orgasms, and she does it by using these long toys gradually. She builds them up over time. It's a training thing.
Right. Obviously, not like the first time
No,
you
it's
shove it in.
months
Right.
and sometimes
Yeah.
years. Like and some people
So,
it's decades. And
How do you get asgasm?
it's when you go through the curve in the bout. The curve has a name which I've forgotten.
It's okay.
But it's the bend, and we call it the second ring, and it's got a lot of nerve endings, and people call it like the orgasm, the second ring. But this has led to brands. So there is another brand in Los Angeles which I love because they're so funny and they're so like relevant now because they're constantly reacting to trends, and they're called hankies. And hanky toys develop like these. Some of them are enormous sex toys which are like futuristic shapes, animal shapes, like fantasy shapes, and it's all based on. So you'll get one toy which is the original size, and they do the expansion. So you get the blown up version.
Oh, like Russian dolls.
Yeah. They just, I mean, they don't go inside each other, they go inside you. But yeah. But one of them, which I wanted to touch on because it is so girthy, it's huge. It's called
So girthy.
so it's called the Goliath, but the Goliath goes up 3 or 4 sizes. I think just 3, but the big size is the 4XL. And I'm going to read the specifications to you because they're
The
quite
specification
they're
of
quite-
the Goliath.
they're quite-
the girthiest dildo.
It's huge, and
Okay.
it's called the Goliath. This is the 4XL, so XXXXL.
Okay.
So the circumference near the head, which is where it penetrates, the circumference around is 8 inches around. The circumference around the biggest part of the head,
This is 8 inches, right? It's because
we haven't
Like
even
that?
started.
Is that 8 inches?
We then go to the circumference around the thickest part, which is 12.25 inches. We then go down to the circumference directly below the head, which is 12.75. We still haven't even got there. We then reach the circumference near the middle of the shaft, which is 15.25 inches.
Oh
And then the thickest part, which is 15.87 inches.
no!
And the overall length is 14.2 with 5 inches.
No!
And you-
Listening to this, I need ibuprofen.
And then you can insert. But the thing is, a lot of people, it's like a sport.
Oh,
And a lot of
it's
people
like
have-
something you want to like achieve.
Yeah, so it's like that's where it kind
It's
of
like climbing like the Mount Everest.
yeah, and Mount Asferist.
Asperest.
Some people climb into caves, some people climb
Yeah.
Mount Asferist, and then but a lot of people upload these videos onto the internet as like a sport because they kind of get off on people seeing them. They like push their, expand their horizons literally,
Sex marathon.
and yeah. But this has been going on for years, but I think it's becoming more normalized now. And brands are developing, like hankies use platinum silicone, which is a medical grade silicone. So like it's a lot of these big toys back in the day were made from like products which have phthalates in them.
Yeah.
Phthalates are really bad for you. They say it causes cancer, it's toxic. So now these big toys are being, considering you're using something very big, you want to make sure that is of the best.
Yeah.
So brands like hankies, etc. And there's a Canadian brand called Topped Toys who do them as well.
Wow.
And it's all because the customers want it.
I have to say that is not a part of my life's goals. But I do appreciate the people that achieve them.
Not 16 inches girth, no.
Yeah, not for me.
Not today. Not,
Not
today,
today.
Satan. And then I want to touch on one of my favorite shocking things, which is the world's most expensive sex toys.
Okay. Because if I had to guess, I'll be like, okay, something really outrageous, like $30,000 dildo or something like that. So what's the world's most expensive sex toy?
The most expensive one is a lot more than that. A hell of a lot more. It's
You're
1.
like, you cheap bitch.
Yeah, 1.3 million. 1.3 million. And it is made by a gentleman called Colin Byrne, who is a jeweler. I think he's Australian.
Who is this man?
He's like a famous jeweler.
Is he alive or?
I don't know. Let's text him. I want his number. That's the kind of friend I want.
So what is it about? Like,
it's a vibrator, and it's made from solid platinum. It's bejeweled with pink diamonds, white diamonds, and a certain type of pearl, which is a South Sea pearl.
oh, but
And
it's a vibrator?
and blue sapphires.
Wow. So who buys this vibrator? Like probably the Ambani family.
Probably. And they're all obviously made to order.
Right.
So I would love to know who's got
It
one.
has to be some royal family.
Yeah. Or maybe like Madonna, or like
Madonna would spend $13 million on a vibrator. I
it's
don't know.
1.3.
Oh,
Well,
1.3.
maybe we can. I
Well,
don't
then
know.
Madonna would totally buy it.
Yeah, I can see her doing it. It should be a good face of it. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, that I think it should, but there are other really expensive products as well. We've got like brands like Jimmy Jane, which make like a platinum vibrator, which is $3,500.
Because that's a lot.
We've got Lalo, who make gold-plated vibrators, clitoral stimulators. And a lot of these toys, like I think when people think expensive sex toys, they're thinking, oh, am I going to put a diamond inside of myself? That sounds, to me, it doesn't sound very comfortable. A lot of this like external vibrators, which is quite great because when you think of like the quality of things like platinum, you know, that material, how it reacts to body temperature, it's going to feel great. So, I mean, can I say it's justified for that price? I don't know. I don't have 1.3
I don't know if I would
million.
ever buy a $1.3 million vibrator.
I probably would if I could, just to say I had it, just because I'd end up in
That's
some
true.
museum. You know.
Yeah.
This one had a 1.3 million. That's what I want to be known for.
Oh.
I mean, either
Like
that.
when you die, your estate
Yeah.
will have like these expensive sex toys.
He had a 1.3 million vibrator and he fucked himself with bread. I'd like
Sounds
both.
like good facts about self.
I haven't done either, but the night is young.
But is it on your bucket list?
Yes.
Is this your life bucket list or
Yeah.
summer bucket list?
I don't know. maybe we'll do 2 summers. Give myself time to.
Yeah.
I don't really like olive oil that much, so
I see. Coconut oil.
coconut oil. With maybe some like garlic butter. Really mix it
I
up.
like
Yeah,
that.
really mix it up. And then the 10th one is something which does kind of like loan itself to AI, but I think is because the way the world is moving right now, with the development of everyone's on apps, everyone's interacting with each other on apps. People are monetizing their lives. People are monetizing their sex lives. People are monetizing gaming, virtual reality. So we now have crazy, crazy advancements in sex technology.
Yeah.
Which means you can
I've
live.
only seen like a little bit of it, but tell us more about VR sex.
VR sex. So there are people, and the thing is, people are manufacturing their own VR. So it's not necessarily brand dependent. You know, if you're smart enough and you can figure this stuff out, you can create product that reacts to an imaginary world. You know,
How would you do that?
well, just
Is it like on a program?
yeah, like programming products to react to, like, say for example, you
So
are.
is this only for like computer engineers? But like, how can I create VR porn
Well, there's
or
I mean,
VR sex toy?
there's companies that do it. There's German brands who develop sex toys which react to like porn. So you can put a porn film on, you can put it on your, like, you know, these VR masks. And then every thrust, every bounce, every jiggle you see in the film is reacted to within the product you're having sex with, which is obviously a lot more popular at the moment with cis men because they're watching porn girls like bounce and scream. And they've got like this toy imitating exactly what they're seeing. So they're having that in.
So, okay. So step by step. So if I'm going to use VR for sex toy,
Yeah.
what would I do? Wear a goggle?
Yeah, it would be,
Okay.
first of all, it'd be quite expensive. So you'd need to
Okay.
have a little bit of like
How
cash.
much are we talking about?
Gosh, I mean,
Not 1.3 million.
no, definitely not. I mean,
So like
I would say,
2,000?
I think you probably get it for about $1,000.
Okay,
You know.
1,000?
Yeah, you want to get like the headset, and then
Okay.
a lot of them now will react to even things
So
like,
it's linked to another sex toy
Yeah,
that's
so-
going on my genital?
yeah, it'll be like a lot of the time, especially with cis men, it's thrusting, like, so it'll be like a fleshlight style toy. That
But
you
like,
can,
does it stay on its own or do I have to hold it?
No, you connect to like a lot of the time it's like a
Like an
a
ass?
base. It can be an actual sex doll.
Okay.
But the most popular ones that I've seen, because they're easier to clean and they're much more kind of like sanitary to like operate, is like it'd be like a plastic base or a metal base or whatever, and then the sex toy locks in. And then that sex toy, the mechanism within the base, will react to the video. So
and it usually mimics
thrusts,
vagina.
It thrusts, bounces, clenches, which is where
It goes like this.
Yeah, and then there's sex toy.
And then it squeezes too.
Yeah, squeezes, and you can customize how it grips. You can customize how deep the stroke is.
And you're wearing the goggles.
Yeah.
So are you watching other people have sex, or are you watching someone have sex with you?
You're watching either. You can watch both. So you can choose your favorite porn film and interact with that. And the most popular type is POV.
Which is?
So you're watching like point of view. You're watching
So you're fucking this person.
But you're watching someone else do it, but you're getting the
person.
sensation.
Oh.
So it's like this is what I mean about sex tech and like VR it's gonna mean our industry is gonna definitely last a lot longer because we are, we're creating totally.
We are VR.
Yeah, we're creating completely like personalized sexual experiences, and there's things like blowjob machines.
Yeah.
There's a product called the Auto Blow, which will give you a totally customized blowjob.
And it stays on its own?
It's no, the Auto
you
Blow.
Have to hold it,
you've got to hold it or
okay.
mount it, but I don't think most people can play.
But then it's a mouth?
It's a mouth, or you can put an anus, or you can put a vulva, or it can just be a smooth
But how
channel.
is it auto?
So you basically play with the machine, you customize it. You need to read all the instructions when these things arrive, and then it can react to sound. You can plug porn films into them, and they can react to the noises in the film. The toys can talk to you.
Wow.
Yeah. Everything is becoming totally, totally customized to what you want, which has gone beyond just, in the beginning of this conversation, customized vibrations. Now you can watch yourself. There is a famous adult porn actress, sex worker in the UK called Tanya Tate, and she modeled and she did loads of videos, which is a POV versions of her being fucked.
By the person wears VR.
Yeah. So you are having sex with her because you're not, but you are because it feels like you are. You're seeing it.
I really want to try.
I know I haven't actually tried them, but I've been around it. I think it's because it's work. So sometimes I switch off and I'm like, I'm not going to, because it just reminds me, I'm sat there thinking about, what's the recommended retail price on this? Like, where are they getting these like products from? How are they going to package this? Who's distributing this in the UK? Do you mean it's quite hard for me to disconnect?
Yeah.
But it's just really interesting. The TV show I did on Channel 5 had her on it, Tanya.
Okay.
And she was just kind of like, it showed her filming her, and she was developing the product with the brand. And it's just really cool watching it go from that inception point through to like, someone having the option. Because let's be honest, most people, 99% of people won't sleep with their favorite porn star. This gives sex workers the chance to say to their fans, do you want to experience fucking me?
So my last question for you is, there's a lot of discussion about like how all these sex toys are actually contributing to people being lonelier and more isolated, and rather than like connecting humans. What do you have to say to that?
I think that's a misconception. I think there are a lot of lonely people in the world anyway. I don't think a lot of that has to do with sex toys. I think everyone deserves pleasure. And I think that the trope of someone who uses a lot of sex toys or pleasures themselves as being lonely or pathetic is a bit of an old school, archaic, What a lot of people learn from sex toys is things about themselves, which they can then communicate in bed. And there are a lot of people who perhaps don't have the social skills to go and meet people. Why should they not be entitled to pleasure? And this idea that it's a lonely guy in a room somewhere. So what if it is? Does that mean he's not allowed to have an orgasm? Can he not experience a level of intimacy that perhaps because of his life or his confidence he may not achieve? And what these products do is give people access to good time. It gives them knowledge about their own body. And I think a lot of the time with sex toys, they make you so much better in bed because you learn about different ways to orgasm. You learn about, like I said, your own dysfunctions, how to combat that. Maybe I need less grip. Maybe I need to go slower. Maybe I need to try a different type of foreplay. Maybe I need to be stimulated externally.
Yeah, my sex toys have really helped me overcome sexual shame.
And me too. And it makes you so much better in bed.
Yeah.
Because you learn what feels good.
Love it. Where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Topher Taylor, TikTok Topher Taylor, and on Twitter, hello, I am Topher.
Thank you so much for teaching us.
Thank you for having me.
My loves, thank you so much for listening and watching till the end of the episode. I am sending you guys lots of orgasmic energy. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment, all the things. And per usual, have an orgasmic day. Bye.
Thanks for listening. This was Love Bites.
Love Bites.
by Dr. Tara. Follow Dr. Tara on social media at lovebites.co. Have an orgasmic day.